Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Fishing with James. This is episode 13 of my hand-tied jig series, and today I'm going to be showing you how to tie a bluegrass crappie jig. So let's go ahead and get started. The jig head I'm going to be using today is a 1/16 ounce New Age minnow head. I painted it blue and chartreuse and put a dark blue 4mm eye on it. So to start out, I'm just going to put a little bit of super glue down on the hook. Now I'm just going to take my thread and make a nice layer of it all the way from the head down even with the point of the hook. I'm using Danville's 210 denier flat wax nylon in blue. After that, I'm just going to take a small piece of paper towel and dab up the extra super glue, and now I'm just going to cut the tag end of the thread. For the tail for this jig, I'm going to be using a radiation yellow Marabou feather. So I want the feather to be about the length of the hook, and once I roughly have that estimated, I'm going to take my thread and begin tightly wrapping it into the hook. Once I have it even in the middle of the hook, I'm going to take my thread and start wrapping it very tightly all the way up to the head of the jig. After that, I'm going to take my scissors and cut the feather as close as I can to the hook, and then I'm going to take my thread and wrap it very tightly down to the feather just to make sure I have it wrapped in all the way. For the flash for this jig, I'm going to be using this beautiful light blue crystal flash. I think it's going to match the body really well. I'm going to cut a strand down into two smaller pieces just like this. Once I have them cut to size, I'm just going to hold them at the head of the jig and make a few tight wraps of thread and rotate them down and hold them on the side of the jig. This will make sure that they're perfectly even on both sides of the jig. I'm going to wrap my thread all the way back up to the head. Sometimes you have to make a few fine adjustments, but then after that you're going to cut the flash just past the end of the tail. For the body for this jig, I'm going to be using this custom blueberry chenille. I'm going to start by taking a piece of the chenille and tying it in all the way down even with the feather down at the bottom. Sometimes I'll turn the vise where I can see exactly where I want to tie to. So right about there is going to work. I'm going to take my thread all the way back up to the head of the jig. Now, this is where the jig really comes together. I'm just going to take the vise and start slowly rotating it in and making sure to wrap the chenille evenly as best I can all the way up to the head of the jig. Once I've done that, I'm just going to take my thread and make a few wraps under and over the chenille to tie it in at the head. After that, I'm going to take my scissors and cut the tag into the chenille and pull out any fuzzy bits that stay behind. Now I'm just going to take my finishing tool and do a double whip finish. So we're going to do 4, 5, 6 wraps just like that. Pull it tight. And then go back for another handful of wraps. There we go. Now I'm just going to take my scissors and cut the thread, and there you have it, a bluegrass crappie jig. Now all that's left to do is bag this thing up, put a sticker on the bag, and these things are ready to get out and go catch some crappie. Thank you all for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Hand Tied Jigs.